The Rhode Island Current, September 11th, 2024. I'm going to read you all this article. And here it goes. A supervisor for the Rhode Island Department of Human Services and her daughter are facing federal charges for allegedly stealing $191,000 worth of food assistance benefits. Nadine Jean-Baptiste, 57, and Octavia Jean-Baptiste, 27, both of Warwick, are accused of stealing people's personal information to assess their Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program SNAP benefits, along with EBT benefit card balance information for their own personal purchases. Some of the recipients were minors and individuals who were homeless or incarcerated at the time, according to prosecutors. The state's Office of Internal Audit began to investigate the matter in 2023 after receiving complaints from SNAP recipients about missing EBT cards, which are either mailed or obtained in person from a DHS office if a person is homeless. The mother and daughter allegedly used the information to purchase items at stores such as Walmart and Market Basket in Warwick, along with the Stop and Shop in Cranston, according to a criminal complaint filed in the U.S. District Court of Rhode Island. Nadine Jean-Baptiste was arrested Tuesday at her Providence office, and Octavia Jean-Baptiste was taken into custody by the U.S. Marshal Service. Both made their initial court appearances Tuesday and were released on unsecured bond, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. The two are charged with aggravated identity theft, wire fraud, illegal acquisition or use of SNAP benefits, and conspiracy. Nadine Jean-Baptiste has been employed by the state of Rhode Island since at least 2013 and was working as a principal clerk for DHS at its office at 1 Reservoir Avenue in Providence, according to the criminal complaint. Human Service spokesperson Jim Beardsworth said in a statement Wednesday that DHS and its partners are committed to safeguarding these benefits for Rhode Islanders and work vigilantly to do so. Beardsworth declined to comment on the employment status of Nadine Jean-Baptiste. The Rhode Island Department of Human Services is supporting an ongoing investigation by local and federal authorities regarding Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program SNAP EBT fraud, Beardsworth said in an email. Due to the ongoing nature of this investigation, DHS cannot comment on personal matters and is unable to provide any additional details at this time. Any SNAP beneficiaries who believe they may be a victim of fraud should contact the Rhode Island Department of Administration's Office of Internal Audit and report stolen EBT cards to police, Beardsworth said. He also advised EBT users to frequently change their PINs and monitor account balances. This showed up on my feed on YouTube, and when I researched this, I'm quite stunned to find out that this scam is more prevalent than we think it is. These mother-daughter duos, right? To me, I'm not going to say they are a rising trend, but there's going to be a rising trend in theft, which we already see this with the flash mob of stores, where people are going to do these things in groups. Now, note that although this happened physically in the state of Rhode Island, the daughter was arrested by the U.S. Marshals. Then you have various other government agencies, if you notice, that I mentioned in this article that are getting involved. Why so much federal oversight? It's obvious because it's SNAP benefits, right? They took from people who were vulnerable and who it was hard for them to fight it. What they did borderlines cruelty, no matter how you look at this. But it goes back to what I told y'all. Two things you can take from this article, and I know that y'all know what they are. By now, if you listen to me, there are two central things you can take from this. Again, the first thing, people will have no qualms about stealing from you. If you're working for any DHS office, you should be making enough of a livable wage to not take from these people. But because some were incarcerated and some were homeless, you knew no one would go look, or you assumed no one would realize that $191,000 was taken. Because you figured if someone's living on the street, that money would just not be traced back to you because they weren't going to fight it. And if someone's incarcerated, they're locked down most of the time. This is how sophisticated and clumsy these people are getting. This isn't desperation, because the mother worked for DHS and was making decent money. There had to have been a way to side hustle or something not to do this. This isn't desperation. This is pure unadulterated greed here. People are going to take from you, and they're going to assess your vulnerabilities to do so. Okay. Number two, there's going to be increasing federal oversight when you're caught in things. The daughter being arrested by U.S. Marshals is telling. Because once you start involving the Fed, that's when things are going to get real. Federal time is not like state and local time. It's not. You better go connect these dots. Fed time is Fed time. You're going to do a lot of time when the Fed gets you. Okay? This SNAP stuff is evidence. Okay? That they're not playing with y'all out here anymore. They started building that case in 2023. That means to trace that 191,000, they built an ironclad case. Because one thing about the Fed, when they come after anyone, they've been watching you even when you don't know they have been. These people are getting so smug and so greedy that they're taken from society's most vulnerable. Because again, being incarcerated doesn't mean you weren't put there falsely. Because some people are sitting in jail and prison for crimes they didn't even commit. They just probably didn't have the lawyers to fight it. Now, some incarcerated people put themselves there, and we know what that entails, okay? The homeless, though, who need to eat, this is pathetic. But it also shows a growing trend of people who are willing to take from the most vulnerable in society. And they don't care about who they hurt in the process. I expected to read this story and think that this was an isolated incident. But it's not. See, the thing about knowing people's information in this SNAP system is that you know just enough to commit other forms of fraud, because they're not the only ones who've been doing this. Whether you're homeless or not, because I know some homeless people might have cell phones, get with the 3 credit bureaus and lock down your reports and only open them when you have to. Because if you don't protect yourself, your lack of protection is going to cost in the end.